Good evening. I'm Joseph Manning,
And I'm Robert Brown.
and our project was Firebreak creation around the north stand of the Christmas tree tract on ABAC Forest.
Our project was to reestablish fire breaks on the north stand of the Christmas tree tract at ABAC Forest in Tift County, Georgia. The tract is located in Chula, Georgia, near the intersection of Willis Still Road and Adams Road. The fire break needed to be opened up wide enough for easy access for UTVs and ATVs and needed to be prepared for prescribed burning this spring. Down in the right-hand corner, you'll see a map of the ABAC Forest in relevance of the Willis Still Road and Adams Road intersection.
We chose our project because we believe that it would create team building communication that will benefit us during our careers. Also, we wanted to practice obtaining goals set for us by stakeholders and landowners, which is a skill that we will be utilizing every day in the forestry business. Also, we wanted to help provide safety for students and professors participating in prescribed fires during fire ecology, like students in the past had done for us. As fire veterans, we know the importance of fire breaks when conducting a prescribed burn and wanted to minimize the risk of a fire escaping the contained area.
Our stakeholders were Mr. Kip Hall and Dr. Vanessa Lane. The tools were provided by ABAC Natural Resources Department through Mr. Dan Ayuzan. We coordinated with Dan to receive these tools, and we also coordinated with Dan for him to show us where the creation of the fire break was to begin.
Issues that we established early on was we did not want to disturb any active gopher tortoise burrows that was in close proximity to the creation of the new fire break. Also, being that we are in South Georgia, daytime temperatures in August and September were in the upper 90s, which can cause heat-borne illnesses to occur. So with consulting with our stakeholders, we established that every active tortoise burrow that we encountered during the creation of the fire breaks were to be marked with orange or pink flagging tape, making sure that no ATVs or UTVs ran over and crushed the burrows, impeding the habitat for the tortoises. Also, during work, we took water breaks and cooled off in shade to prevent any kind of heat-borne illness from occurring.
Our objectives for the creation of the fire break were clearing away woody and herbaceous vegetation from these fire breaks, while also widening the fire breaks on the north track to allow easy access to the track for ATVs and UTVs. Furthermore, they would provide a safe workspace for future students and professors in the fire ecology class while conducting prescribed fires this spring.
The purpose of a fire break is to allow access and safety routes to the stand for applications of prescribed fire and provides a buffer around the stand for containment of fire, impeding the fire's ability to access areas that are not on the burn objectives for that prescribed fire. Fire breaks also allow easy travel around the stand to move supplies, water cannons, drip torch, fire flaps, all essential for helping to contain or to establish a prescribed fire in a stand. Also, fire breaks provide an escape route for students, professors, or any volunteers who are working a fire to evacuate a stand if the fire behavior changes unexpectedly, like it can and will at any time.
Down below, you'll see a map of the ABAC Christmas tree track and a red line which represents the main road going to the interior of the track. It is marked at the end, and that is the entrance on Adams Road, and also a yellow outline, which is the outline of the fire break that we have created.
The tools that were most utilized during the creation of these fire breaks was a steel brush cutter graciously provided by the ABAC for us to use, and we coordinated with Dan whenever we needed to use it and were allowed to. He also provided us with the proper safety equipment so that we did not become injured while using the machinery. Also, we used a woodsman's machete, which is a smaller machete that was safely able for us to remove stumps and small sprouts that were a safety hazard for when a ATV would drive over it, that it could potentially pop tires or someone could potentially trip on when they were walking down the Firebreak. Also, we used flagging tape to mark the entrance of the stand and also every gopher tortoise burrow that we encountered as we were working.
We used a 30% triclopyr solution, which was infused with blue dye. Per our stakeholder request, they asked that every time we cut a stump, we would stump treat it to prevent the future stump sprouting.
The pictures below are in order of a sequence going from left to right. Left, you can see when the Firebreak before it was created, there was not much room to walk down. You would have to walk in a single file line to be able to go down the Firebreak efficiently. With coordinating with Dan, we established that we needed a 6-foot wide minimum of Firebreak so that the UTV that the school owns could drive down without being imposed by any brush during the traveling the exterior of the stand. On the right side, you can see that we opened it up to a minimum of 6 foot so the UTV would have no problems of driving down the stands. Just like the last slide, you see a sequence of events of before and during the cutting process. Starting at left, small pines had impeded into the stand and were preventing a turn on the Firebreak for the UTV was not able to access. So we went in with the brush cutter and cut the pines down and distributed them evenly through the stand. And on the right side, you can see a very clean and well-prepared fire bed that will be used for a Firebreak this spring in fire ecology.
We coordinated with our stakeholders and they informed us that they wanted the brush that we had accumulated from the creation of the Firebreak distributed evenly throughout the stand. That way there would not be buildup or in and around the Firebreak itself. Furthermore, we used a woodsman machete to cut any stobs that would cause a tripping hazard or would cause a puncture in the tire of the ABAC Natural Resources UTV.
Also, the stakeholders did not want us to pile any of the brush up too densely because a brush pile can remain smoldering after a prescribed fire for longer periods of time, causing the possibility of a spark to ignite and catch surrounding stands on fire. The timeline for our project started on August 25th with a meeting with Mr. Kip Hall to establish his objectives for the project. On the 1st of September, we done an in-person assessment of the condition of the Firebreak and assessed what tools would be needed to efficiently create the Firebreaks in an efficient manner. On 9/7, we began removing woody brush from the Firebreaks, removing red maple, gallberry, and other invasive species that had been encroached into the stand. We continued work on September 15th, removing woody brush, picking up working in unison with our other groups that were being assigned the projects. On September 22nd, we finished our allotted time by going back and removing cut stobs that were left over from cutting the brush and also removing cut brush that had been left accidentally into the Firebreak.
The Firebreak was established to provide accessibility to the north stand for UTVs and ATVs. Gopher tortoise burrows were marked and protected during the creation of the Firebreak. Furthermore, the creation of the Firebreak provided a safety net for using prescribed fire to contain the fire inside of the burn unit to help prevent the fire from escaping.
Our future recommendations for the establishment of these Firebreaks would that be to get a small attractor equipped with a bush hog and a bucket that would be beneficial for creating and maintaining the future Firebreaks. Also getting A disc hair or any kind of tiller device to till the fire breaks would also be beneficial for establishing a fireproof bed that the fire cannot impede across. Also, we recommend that more applications of triclopyr or a glyphosate mixture to be applied in and around the firebreak would be beneficial for control of the woody species and keep them from encroaching into the firebreak, keeping the maintenance of the firebreak to a minimum. Thank you, and if you have any other questions, please let us know.